So what I would do if I was a president is let, like, back out all the troops and leave certain, like, elite troops over there in the Middle East. And just to get intel and know what the fuck is going on. Okay, let everybody that wants to leave. And just go to every other country. But every other country has to realize that, like, just because they're Muslim, they don't get to do fucked up shit to women. And, like, this is our country. Like, what you do is fucked up. Like, or, like, if you're not gonna stone women over here, you're gonna abide by our laws. You came over here, you're gonna abide by our laws. Like, if you didn't want to abide by our laws, don't come here. That's it. Like, and... It's not so much that... Because I know that, like, people on the left say, like, oh, that's, like... You're not being empathetic to their culture. You're not being empathetic to their religion. It's like, well, whenever you're fucking stoning people to death... Yeah. That's, like, you gotta draw the line somewhere.
Yeah. The hard part is that, like... we are dealing with this in their countries. And so it's hard enough whenever... Have you been listening to the second season of Serial?
No, I haven't yet. I've heard good things.
So, like, it's hard enough trying to, like, have the troops move around in, like, Afghanistan and Iraq and all of that. And so, like, it would be kind of hard to just, like, send people in and sort of enforce that really quickly just to get it over with.
What do you mean enforce what?
Like getting rid of ISIS or whatever.
Oh, no. I'm saying for like a few years, just gather and just stay there low key. Like, just gather intel. Don't kill nobody unless it's like, it's like, no, this dude for sure is ISIS. Like, like, or for sure is about to commit something terrible. If they're ISIS and they're just like, yeah, we hate America, just let them hate America. But then if like, okay, the attack happens on Tuesday. It's like, okay, fuck these niggas. Like, we're gonna fuck them up. Like, so just thwart terrorism, but let them hate America. And they want to stay over there, hate America from far away. Sure, hate America. Like, and then everybody that wants to leave. Still enforce, like, your laws. I mean, it's stupid that oh, like, people are defending the Charlie Hebdo, like, things. Like, well, they showed the comics, so they shouldn't... Fuck you! Like, you can show whatever you want. Like, so there's that.
That's also similar to how, whenever people are like, for example, like, the free the nipple thing, and then, like, but then people are saying that, like, oh, well, if you get raped, well, you shouldn't have been walking around topless. It's like, no, people shouldn't rape.
Yeah, fuck you, don't rape. Yeah.
And it's sort of the same thing. It's like, well, they showed the comic. What do you expect Muslims to do? It's like, we should expect everyone not to stone people to death. Yeah, that's a human expectation, not like a cultural expectation.
Yeah. And just like the thing, like, that they show videos of, like, the shit that happens in Europe where there's, like, Muslim neighborhoods and then, like, somebody that looks kind of Jewy walking through there and they're like, boo, fuck Jews, like, like, and, like, if that, like, sure, be racist. I mean, that's fucked up, don't be racist, but, like, sure, be racist. But if somebody, like, beats them up because of racism, fuck that. Like, like, just with as heavily as you can with the arm of the law, like, beat that dude. Like, not beat that, but put him in jail. Make an example of that. Like, racism does not stand. Yeah. It's like, oh, but it's part of our religion. Racism does not stand. Like, just... And then keep that. And eventually, either they'll leave our country, if it is that, and go back and be, whatever. Or they'll assimilate with us. So that's my plan. What would happen over there is, like, because I feel like you gotta make travel easy, like, because countries and the world is really just an experiment of what's the best, like, social construction, and people should be able to, like, this social construction sucks, let's go over there to what we think is better, and that makes it so the kind of like capitalism, like, the best shit, like, rises. So that happens to where, like, it would make, and what everybody's afraid of is like, oh, it would destabilize, and then you'd have like an ISIS country, like, you know, no more Afghanistan. We're called ISIS, like, you know, and then because right now there's no leader. Right now there's just a whole bunch of people like planning a little attack, like, you know. So let them have a leader.
I don't know if they do or not, but
no, they don't. Right. So right now, I mean, obviously, if anybody knows anything, they can email me, muditious@gmail.com. But let them have their own leader, and then whenever, like, they have their leader, it's like, fuck America, blah, blah, blah. I don't know. And then, well, fuck America, blah, blah, blah. Go in there with SEALs, and then kill everybody. Kill, like, the top 3, like, you know, the president, vice president, like, whatever they have. Kill, like, the top 10. And then it's like, because I feel like kind of Republicans are afraid that, like, if we back out of all these places, people, like, it shows that America's weak. America's not weak. We don't need to flex. We don't need to be in all these countries for people to know that we're the shit, because we're the shit. Like, you know, so as soon as that happens, like, you know, like, we're gonna kill Americans, well, the president says that, just go in there, SEALs, kill the top 5. Yeah. And then just let them, whatever, like, you know, pick their other top 5. It's like, just say what the president doesn't even have to say anything. Just like, yeah, that happened. They threatened us, so we acted. Like, no, just like that. And then just let them pick their top 5. Yeah. Again, are they still going to be like, oh, fuck America, blah, blah?
Is this like...
I don't know why we haven't killed Kim Jong-un.
Yeah, that's what I was about to ask. Like, is this the same way that we should treat North Korea? Because North Korea has just been like, we're going to do it. I swear we're going to do it. Any time now, we're going to do it. And
I feel like it shouldn't be like, because, I mean, you hear conspiracy theories that, like, oh, America is the one that, like, poisoned, like, the father and blah, blah, blah. Like, you know, you're like, maybe, no, but I want it to be, like, just like we killed Osama bin Laden. Like, a SEAL team video, fucking,
publicly
did this. Yeah. Don't talk shit, or we will kill you.
Yeah, I mean, I always have, like, 2, like, conflicting opinions, regarding, like, politics and war and all of that. And one is obviously politics and war are stupid. We shouldn't be killing anyone at all. But then the other one is with this world in context. And so with the context of the actual world that we're living in, a child that has the button for blowing up millions of people,
and the only way
to get the button away is to shoot him in the head.
Rape it out of him. You rape that child.
Yeah. Just because, like, that's math. Like, one crazy child versus millions of lives.
Yeah. You rape that child.
Yeah, sorry, child, but millions of lives. And it's a difficult decision, but, like, having sort of the moral, like, ironclad, like, you don't do that, even though it involves a nuke. Like, you can't.
Yeah.
And I would like it not to be, but obviously.
Yeah, and kind of what I was saying, like, we still have nukes, we can nuke people. I don't think it's necessary. I don't think it's, like, you know, because now I feel like we have, like, we have the way to, like, you know, if we wanted to kill Kim Jong-un, we could.
And I don't know, like, I don't know why, or, like...
I feel like it's kind of like out of diplomacy that we don't.
Yeah. Is it?
Because I think not very diplomatic just to be like, hey, fuck America, blah, blah, blah.
Well, there might just be, like, a step, like, one wrong step that he takes, and it's just like, here's a picture of our nuke. Look, it works. And if, like, it actually does show that, like, oh, their nuke does work. Bye. Like, immediately.
But also, like, kind of what I wanted to do like with that, obviously, like, back out all the troops. Mm-hmm. So, like, I mean, cut the defense spending by like half.
Mm-hmm. Because we don't need that many troops anyway.
No, we don't. And also, like, there's a lot of things that I feel like almost like before anything, just like really see where every single penny is going. Because there's like trillions of dollars that are like unaccounted for. Like, we just don't know where they go. So really see where every penny is going.
Like having, because they have that in the government now with like the public like documents and Hillary's like public emails or whatever. Yeah. And so doing the same thing with defense spending or really just everything involving the government, just being like, hey, look, if you sent an email or if you like sent a text or whatever that involves the government, it's public. And it has to be.
Yeah.
Because everyone's paying for it.
I mean, there is some, again, with what I'm talking about, like if it's the whole SEALs thing, like, super secret, just get intel, low-key shit.
Yeah, no, that's fine because you have random weird people who will try to stop them because they can or whatever.
So, okay, cut defense by half, pull out all the people, keep just really elite shit, and then, like, because we have a whole bunch of, like, bases in a whole bunch of countries, like, just back that out. Like, you can, like, just a gift to whatever nation, like, the base, probably not all the weapons and shit. Like, you can keep the base, like, thank you, like, and then back that out. And then I would make it so people can enlist in NASA. Like, so, like, if you're 18, you can enlist and, like, just, I don't know what, I mean, just to help, just to do whatever, just to get trained in science and shit like that. Like,
yeah. That is an interesting, I've actually never thought of it that way, that NASA is a government organization. And so in the same way that you can, like, oh, I want to be in the National Guard, like, oh, I want to be in NASA. And so, like, I don't know what, like, a NASA boot camp would be, but it would be like a,
I don't know,
like a study camp or whatever.
I don't know, but, like, in the military also, like, I mean, you get trained and you do a job. Like, you know, like, my dad, I mean, he wasn't from here, but, like, he went to the Venezuelan Navy, and then he got trained in, like, air conditioning. So, like, it's not like just, like, if you join the military, you're gonna kill people. Like, it's not like that. So, like, if you join, like, NASA, then you would, like, they would train you. It's like, okay, I don't know, because they do for Army, like, they take a test. It was like, okay, these are the jobs that would be good for you. What would you want to do? Blah, blah, blah. And, like, I still think that it would be awesome, because I believe in fitness, like, like, and I still believe that it'd be cool just to do fitness. I know that it's not, like, they don't need it, but I feel like it's important.
Even though, like, most of the other scientists that are just, like, tinkering with stuff don't do fitness, like, astronauts themselves do have to do exercise and do have to be very fit because they're kind of stranded anyways, and so any amount of, like, deficiency physically is everyone's physical deficiency because you're the only one in space.
And then, I mean, just probably, like, 10% of what is going to defense, let's put that 10% all on NASA. And, like, doesn't sound like a lot, but NASA's, like, really not getting shit.
Yeah.
So, like, that 10% would be insane. And then the rest, I really do believe in, like, I believe in, like, state rights, and I do believe in, like, small government. I do believe that there should be some things that government does. So I kind of feel like I would kind of want to try out this thing or this idea. And obviously what I would want to do, I don't know. We're getting into really specific things. We can start your thing of who I
mean,
if I were president. If I was president.
That's a good song.
Yes. So I think what we had is, we talked a little bit about on that podcast too. Yeah. Like, what I would want to do, and again, I'd be president, and then I just elect or like get a whole bunch of really smart people from scientific, not politicians, from like psychology, sociology, economists, and then like I guess like those would be kind of like the idea things. Like these are like we designed society. These are the things we should do, and then we talk about, and then we get other people that like really know.
Yeah.
About, I mean, if it's like, let's design, like, what we want to do is design these kinds of buildings, and then we go to, like, architects, and it's like, is this possible? Like, you know? So then we work from idea backwards, but, I mean, these are kind of, like, get people out of Iraq, let everybody go wherever it is they want to go, and this is just me being the leader of the United States. Let everybody where they want to go. And what everybody's afraid of is that eventually, like, ISIS will take over, and it'll be an Islamic State. But at that point, we can identify that's an Islamic State and then take them out. Like,
what happens to the people in between? All of the women and children that are kind of being forced to stay in this Islamic State?
I would want to make it easy for people to come here. As in, like, I don't know if, like, we could have some sort of, like, let's think of this. If it's, like, if we do keep, like, some sort of, like, militia, the militia would be, like, kind of, like, at the borders, like, hey, if you want to leave, we're here for you. And I do think that, again, what it says on, I think on the Statue of Liberty is like, bring me your poor, bring me your uneducated, bring me, like, you know, bring me, like, other countries, bring me the worst you have. Here, they will be the best. Like, you know, I'll make them into something. Yeah. Like, you know,
and it's up to us in the society to make sure that we make our worst the best.
Yeah, and that's the thing about, like, what I feel like what a society should be. Like, to work to make everybody the best they can be. And then that will make the country the best it can be.
Yeah. Rather than give up on the worst people and just be like, well, turns out you suck. Get out of here, you know. Or turns out you're poor and dying. Guess it sucks for you.
So what I would want to do is have some sort of, like, basic needs met for people. I don't know, to where, like, if they want to do some sort of, if they want to just lay around, like, nobody's just allowed to lay around. If you want to have the benefits, then just, like, have, like, I don't know, a 4-hour work week to where, like, you still kind of, like, I would kind of still want some sort of, like, kind of capitalism to where, like, there's people that, like, you know, Apple and shit like that. But also, you kind of, like, if you want the bare minimum, just, like, enlist to NASA, and then you'll have your basics needs met, but, like, they'll train you into something. And even, like, I feel like everyone, like, I would accept everyone. Like, you know, there's some people that, like, oh, you're morbidly obese, you can't get into the army. Like, no, everyone. Like, and then just like, oh, you're morbidly obese. Are you happy morbidly obese, or do you want a personal trainer and then then just make everybody into the best person, and then also train them into whatever it is that they want? It's like, oh, I'm really interested in computers. Like, fine, computers. Like, you know, I'm really interested in cinematography. Fine, do some cinematography, and then we'll teach you to do, like, advertisements for, like, NASA, for, like, you know, there's always, like, any kind of thing that, like, I'm interested, well, I don't know if, like, I'm interested in porn. Like, I don't know what we can do for that. But, but I feel like for a lot of things, it's like, I'm interested in this. Like, they're fine, let's train you, and then there's some way that we can use you.
What happens to art?
I feel like, I mean, with a 4-hour work week, you can do art on the side. So I mean, again, like I would want like 100% employment, and to where like again, some sort of capitalism to where like Apple is still able to like, oh, you don't want to enlist to NASA, that's fine. Like just like it's not a force. Like you have to do this. You can work for Apple, and then you can like they'll pay you your living wage and stuff like that, and it doesn't have to be like a forced thing. To where like there's still, I would still want state rights because I do think that that there's like experimentation within the states to where like, I mean I do think that all drugs should be legal, but I like this kind of.
Can we take a quick tangent? Because I've been wanting to have this conversation. Why is drug X illegal? So why is weed illegal?
I mean, who are you asking? Because I think...
I don't know. And that's...
Are you asking me? Because, I mean, I think it's illegal just... For now, it's illegal just out of momentum because it's been illegal for so long. There's a lot of reasons... There's a lot of factors that had to do with it becoming illegal. When we, like, kind of finally got, like, really enforced as illegal... it was kind of like, hey, look, the Mexicans like weed. Like, they suck. Let's make that illegal. Like, you know.
Yeah.
That's one of the reasons. There's also the whole, like, you know, the paper thing to where, like, weed was really beneficial for making paper. And then the person, like, you know, they wanted a monopoly on paper. So they made weed illegal. They had a monopoly on, like, making paper. So, yeah, I mean, it's...
and then, why are psychedelics illegal?
Again, I feel like it had to do a lot with people being afraid of, and also the war on drugs is beneficial. Like, you have more police departments, like, and stuff like that. Like, you employ people, like, and again, it's hard to, like, at this moment, why are they illegal? It's like, it's kind of out of momentum. Because in a scientific society, like, psychedelics are not that bad. You can do it if you want. Like, you know. Yeah. Right now, mainly out of momentum. A lot of times, psychedelics make you see things differently. And I think that that's kind of like, a lot of the people that were doing acid were like, come on, man, society is a joke. Like, you know, so then they're like...
The people running society are
like, whoa, like, no, society's not a joke. Let's make that shit illegal.
Yeah. And then, well, I think the educating people in these things would make them make better decisions about it. And so, like, I've always kind of said that, like, if someone's like, I'm curious about doing crystal meth. And it's like, all right, before you do crystal meth, here's all the stuff that happens when you do crystal meth. And so, like, oh, you get this amazing high, but then, like, you have to stop your life because everything else in, like, you will not stop until you get that high again. And then, like, also, you also lose tons of weight and, like, start dying.
But again, you can actually do crystal meth once and not be addicted. Like, we know gabber mate, and, like, we know that addiction's not really, like... substance really in and of themselves are not addictive.
Yeah, but, like, if you were to take, like, crystal meth in the same amount that people drink coffee,
it'll ruin your life.
You would die.
Yeah.
I don't think there's, like, a...
But then again, it's kind of like the same thing with, like... I like psychedelics, but it's like if you did psychedelics like people do coffee, like, that's ridiculous. Like, you'd ruin your life.
But then at the same time, like, caffeine itself is also extremely hazardous. And if people... I mean, if people stopped drinking coffee like they drink coffee, then they would see how much better they are without it.
Not for a while. They would hate it for a while.
Because... I mean, I'm pretty, apparently there's a term for, like, I'm pretty straight edge, in that, like, I don't drink coffee. I don't smoke. I don't drink. I don't anything. And I'm 20, and that's illegal for me, but that wouldn't stop me anyways. And so, like, I don't drink coffee because I don't need it. It also tastes awful. But, and so in me thinking, like, I don't need it, I wake up in the morning just fine.
Feeling like P. Diddy?
Not feeling like P. Diddy. P. Diddy wakes up in the morning feeling like me. Until he drinks coffee. So whenever I wake up in the morning, I'm just like, all right, let's go. But if I tell that to someone who regularly drinks coffee, they're like, oh my gosh, how do you even get up in the morning? Mm-hmm. And so there's sort of like a level of ignorance, for lack of a better term, in just like, how good would your life be without this substance?
I mean, people use it as a tool to like help them wake up, and to some extent, some of it is like the placebo effect. Mm-hmm. But I mean, it definitely does have an effect. But to some extent, definitely, it's a placebo effect. Mm-hmm. To where like, it's really hard for me to get up without like coffee. It's like, no, you could. And again, like, I mean, I'll wake up at 5 a.m. I'm not super excited to do it, but like I get up and I do it, and like eventually I'm okay.
Yeah. But then still continuing with like the education thing of like, oh, well, here's how you would be if you did crystal meth, or how you would be if you did caffeine. But then also like applying it to everything else. Like, you're a large advocate for exercise, and so like, here's how your life would be if you exercised. And so, like, if people were educated in all of these things, like, things wouldn't need to be illegal, because it would just be the choice to make.
And I feel like, I mean, again, I don't think I would do crystal meth. I might. I mean, it's not, but I'm not afraid that, like, I will do crystal meth and it's like, oh shit, this is awesome. Fuck everything else. I just want to do this until I become Skeletor. Like, it's not, I'm not afraid of that scenario. I know that, like, crystal meth, again, like Gabor Mate, like, we demonize these drugs into, I don't know, like, you do it once, you'll be addicted forever. It's like, no, you can do it once and be okay. Like, people do things, I may do, like, let's say, for whatever reason, I gotta drive from, like, one side of the country to the other side, and then without sleep. Like, crystal meth will help me out. I probably need crystal meth. If I needed to do that, like,
yeah,
crystal meth would be the right tool for the job. Like, and then I would probably do crystal meth, drive all the way out without sleeping, and then, like, okay, well, fuck crystal meth. Like, you know, I did it because I needed it, and then I'm done now.
I would hate the fact that you would need crystal meth. Wouldn't it be much better to just, like, well, it would just be better to have self-driving cars and that.
Yes, but but again, in this imaginary scenario, like, what I'm trying to say is, like, drugs can be almost like a tool.
Yeah.
To where you need it for a certain thing. Or, like, I mean, you don't need it, like, you know, what's need, what's want, anyways. Sometimes you need alcohol just to have a little more fun. Like, I mean, it's not like, do you need alcohol to have fun? No. But, like, sometimes it's just, like, inhibits your prefrontal cortex that makes you judge yourself too much, and then, like, you have fun.
Okay. Well, you just stop judging yourself.
And it's hard.
It is, but everything is as hard or as easy as you make it feel. But again, waking up at 5 a.m. is hard, but then once you do it every day, you're just like, okay, well, I just wake up at 5 a.m. every day. And then the same goes with, like, oh, well, whenever I'm at a party, I'm in party mode, and so, like, I'll just let go of all my inhibitions and be crazy and fun. But
it's also, you understand that some people learn how to do that, and some people have, like, certain cognitive tools to act certain ways, and some people don't.
Yeah, you have a lot more information regarding that than I do. All right, well, that's the drug conversation.
What we were talking about was, like, state freedom. Yeah. I would like to almost, like, have some sort of state freedom. That way there's, like, little experiments all over the United States to where, like, just figure out the best shit to do. What I was kind of thinking, because I do lean Republican and lean, like, Democrat, but, like, I like the idea of, okay, the states, like, fuck Obamacare. It's like, okay, how about this? Like, what, like, the federal government does is, like, we give you, like, allotted money for healthcare. And then you, with your own, like, apply it however it is that you want. If you want, just give the money straight to the people. That kind of shit happens, like, with Alaska, for example, to where, like, they make so much money in oil that, like, from taxing oil, that, like, we have so much money, like, they could, like, apply to education, or they could apply to, like, but they just give it to the people. And just like, I think in Colorado also, they made so much money from weed taxes, like, they just didn't know what to do with it. So, like, just give it back to the people, like, and to which is a really cool idea. I mean,
they did, rather than the representatives just going like, look at all this freaking money we have.
Well, a lot of the things that happens it's inefficient, but, like, to where, like, it's like, oh, we have, like, $17 billion extra. Like, we could give it back to the people, or we could invest it all in education, or invest it all in hospitals and stuff like that. To where, like, for every state, the federal government just says, like, we want universal healthcare. So this is what we're going to do. Like, you guys do it however it is that you want. Like, we'll give you a certain amount, like, let's say 10,000, 100,000 per person, like, a year. And it's basically just in case money.
Yeah.
If you want, like, just put it into, like, hospitals. That's what we advise you to do with it. And then, whatever system it is that you want to do it. If you, like, no, fuck Obamacare, it's like, okay, then just give the money to the people. Do whatever it is you want with it. And then there would be kind of like a yearly, like, tell us how you solved the healthcare problem. Like, we gave you money for it. Like, how did that work? It's like, well, this is how we did it. It's like, well, this is how California did it. Like, that worked really well. Like, why don't you try that? It's like, well, we want to try this. Like, well, their system's better. Like, how are you going to, like, just improve on whatever you did? Because there are better ways to do it, for sure. There's other people that are doing it, like, so it's like...
Could there be ways to maybe, like, for lack of a better term, punish them for using their allotted healthcare money badly? So, for example, if, like...
The way to punish it is, like, people are like, oh, California's way fucking better. Then they leave their state, they go to another state. And I would want it to be really, really easy for people to just leave one state to another. That way, like, and if a whole bunch of people leave because there's better healthcare in other, like, states, then that state gets less money for healthcare, and then they're like, well, shit, we gotta do better things. And then it's also, like, if a state was, like, the worst state ever, then they would have no people. Or else, like, it's the worst state ever, but they make it legal so you can fuck horses. Like,
and all the horse fuckers are going to be there.
So, yeah, so then it's like, we don't have healthcare, but I love fucking horses. So then they would stay in that state.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like, I feel that's kind of like why, like, some people stay in Oklahoma, and some people like, oh, yeah, that state's really good, but, like, I like the state, like, So if they had, like, if the reasons to leave the state overwhelm the reasons for staying in that state, then, they would leave.
A reasonable person would leave. Like, for me, a musician, trying to be a composer for video games, I can't do anything in Oklahoma. I can't.
Well,
I mean, there's like the tiny like. Sorry if anyone in this group is listening to it, but like the Oklahoma game developers group on Facebook is like a thing that I'm a member of, and like it's a small group of people. And I'd like to get with them, and I like to be more active with them.
Are they making a game?
No, it's just like different people. There's like a group of like 4 people in Tulsa that are making a game that I've seen. There's like some guy making it.
Do they have any music people? Because like it'd be awesome for you to just like kind of
help them out. I try, but like.
Because also, like,
I'm really busy with school.
Yeah, but you get a resume and then you send it out, like, or like I have worked on music before.
Yeah, but like, I can't do much in Oklahoma. Where the place where it's at is either like L.A., San Francisco, Seattle, and like Vancouver. That's where it's at. Yeah.
And again, if Oklahoma wanted like more like video game stuff, then they would like try to get more people.
Yeah.
But it's kind of like some things that I feel like the government shouldn't have any say in like video games, like, and it's kind of like if like NASA, like they train people in computer design, and then they leave NASA, and then they go on to like do their own like video games or whatever it is, because I feel like computer design is very important for like just to design the interface of NASA's like system, because always there's always a system for like just to manage healthcare, to manage whatever it is. Like there's always ways
How
to
freaking wonderful would it be like if piloting a spaceship is as fun as playing a video game, because they got designers to be like, man, this whole spaceship thing is really hard and really complex, and only like 3 people ever can actually fly this thing. Like,
and exactly. I mean, if it's like just it's like, what are you really interested in video games? Like, okay, well, you can design video games for NASA just to prepare people for the spaceships. And obviously NASA is not just about space. Like they need people in NASA that like lay the concrete down to build a fucking structure to like there's all kinds of things that they need, not just astronauts. And like we only think of the astronauts, but like there's a whole bunch of things like that they need. Just like in the army, if you enlist in the army, you're not going to be killing people. I mean, you can like, what you want to do? I want to kill people. So okay, well then the infantry, like
Yeah.
But there's also like, if you like, oh, what do you want to do? It's like the water sewage system. Like then you can do like they train you to do a specific job.
What if no one wants to do that job?
Then they'll probably get paid more to do that job.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.